Welcome all the participants in the technical session of day 3 of 5 days workshop on cybersecurity and digital forensics. The speaker of today's session is Mr. Vipin Gupta. He will deliver his lecture on the topic Combating Cyber Threats Through Firewall, UTM, a practical demo. Vipin Gupta is BE Red Hat Certified Security Specialist, Red Hat Certified Engineer, Certified Ethical Hacker, Cisco Certified, Microsoft Certified Professional. He is running his own companies, UNet Solutions and UNet Labs Private Limited, with presence in Punjab. The company has got tie-ups with various other companies and organizations for offering consultancy, open source based solutions, high-end training to faculty and industry professionals. He has got more than 25 years of experience in IT-related fields. His specialization is in networking, Linux, security, cloud computing, SDN, Docker, Kubernetes. During his long career, he has been associated with various universities, engineering colleges, polytechnics, private institutes, and corporate sector. He is interacting with both corporate and academic world. He is resource person for NITTR for various STCs. He is author of 4 books, 2 Linux, 1 SDN, and 1 Kubernetes Essentials, and has also created 8 online courses on Udemy. He has conducted hundreds of workshops, STCs on various technologies. He has also published 20 papers in international conferences and journals. Recently implemented one of the most sophisticated lab on advanced networking and cloud computing at some university. This lab contains IaaS private cloud, PaaS private cloud, different hypervisors, implementations, DevOps, clustered implementation, and SDN. I welcome our eminent speaker here in this online workshop. Before inviting our resource person, let me once again mention some guidelines which we have already mentioned in previous 2 days workshop. In this session, you may ask question using your chat box, or you may ask questions at the end of the session. We will unmute you if you raise your hands. So this session will start from now till 5 p.m. We will take 10 minutes of break, and then we will again start the next session at 5:10 p.m. and that will last for 1 hour. We will open the window for question answer session at the end of this particular lecture. So the question answer session will start at 6:15 p.m. Now, Vipin Gupta is requested to take his lecture. It is over to you, Vipin.
Thank you, sir. And participant, I am audible because one participant I think was saying that I am not audible. I think I am, sir, I am audible.
Yes, you are properly audible.
Okay. So I have already shared my screen. This session is going to be theoretical plus practical. 80% will be practical. In my case, I will be using 4 machines for giving the practical demo of this firewall. So, so first we will start with what is firewall, what thing you have to keep in mind. Then we will move towards the demo portion of that. So let me close this window also, minimize this also, and so that screens are visible to you. So in today's topic is our mainly when we are talking about UTM, the major part of that is firewall. So in our case, we are starting with the firewall. What is firewall? How many firewalls are available? Which firewall I am going to show you the demo of that firewall. So when we talk about the firewall, these are some of the major firewalls available. The most famous firewall is Cisco ASA firewall. ASA means Adaptive Security Appliance. The earlier name of this firewall was Cisco PIX firewall. Even if you are going to pick a 20-year back book, old book, there you will find mention of this Cisco PIX firewall, but now the name is Cisco ASA. Now, when you are going to purchase this firewall, it is going to cost you at least 20 lakh rupees. And when you are going to purchase this, they will give you one physical hardware. So that is why sometimes we call this firewall as a hardware firewall also. And another problem is if you have to run this firewall, we need one person who is expert, and that person is going to charge a lot of money monthly. That means fixed cost is also involved and running cost is also involved. Then second firewall that is available is that is checkpoint firewall. Again, it is going to cost you at least 20 lakh rupees. And when you are going to purchase this, they will give you the hardware. And again, that is why it is sometimes also called hardware firewall. Now, again, fixed cost is involved. Then if we have to run or implement this in our organization or in our university or college, we need one person who has got the knowledge of a checkpoint firewall. Again, that is going to cost you a lot of money. So in both these firewall, fixed cost is involved plus the running cost is involved. Now we know that Microsoft is everywhere. So Microsoft has got their own ISA firewall. When we are going to install ISA firewall, this itself is going to cost you money. And then we need 2003 server or 8 server or 12 or 16 server or 2019 server. That is going to again cost extra. But very few people, we can say 1% of the industry, they use this Microsoft ISA firewall. Now we are moving towards the fourth firewall. We are talking about Linux-based net filter IP tables firewall. First of all, 30% of the industry is using this, or universities, colleges, yeah, they are using this firewall. As we know that most of the Linux are free. So this firewall is free. Plus, who can run this firewall? Who can implement this firewall? A person having the knowledge of 10 to 15 commands, even he or she can operate this firewall. So in my case, I will be giving the example of this IP tables firewall, because it is not due that it is free. It is open source, plus 30% of the industry uses this firewall. And sometimes we have found out this firewall is even better than those paid solution. Now, please remember, whenever you have to deal with any firewall, you have to keep in mind certain things. Like when we move from scooter to car, you have to keep in certain thing in mind. Where is the race? Where is the brake? What is the meaning of light? What is the meaning of green light? Same way, when we are talking about any of these firewall or some other firewalls are there, you have to keep in mind three things. If you are clear about those three things that we are going to now discuss, you can handle any firewall. Like if we start, we have learned about how to drive one car, we can easily shift to the other cars. Now, what are those three things? That is the most important thing to understand. So now we are moving towards those three things that you have to keep in mind. Now, those three things are, the first of is type of firewall. That means whenever you are going to purchase the firewall or implement the firewall, you have to specify which type of firewall you want to purchase or implement. Like when you go to some car showroom, you are not going to say to those people, give me the car. Now, you have to specify some model, whether it is this model, whether you want a small car or mid-size or a silver type. That means you have to specify. Same way, when you are going to purchase or implement firewall, you have to keep in mind which firewall you want. Now, the most used firewall is filter firewall. Now, what is filter? If I'm going to say that please block web traffic, or please do not allow somebody to remotely access your computer, that is filtering. Like in our houses, we have got water purifier. What it is doing? It is filtering. It is not allowing the impurities to go. So same way, 70%, 90% of the firewalls that we use or implement, they are a filter type of firewall. Then we have got another type of firewall available, NAT, network address translation. Now it is of two types, SNAT and DNAT. And I will be giving the demo of all these things. But first we have to understand. That means second type of firewall is your NAT, network address translation. And it is further of two varieties, SNAT and DNAT. So let me explain this. What is this SNAT and DNAT? So I will open by another slide. So let me explain later, right? Because later on I have to give the, that means second type of firewall further has got two varieties. One is SNAT and other is DNAT. Now what is SNAT? Now normally you will see that in your organization or in your company, you are generally giving these type of addresses. Either the addresses are going to be in 192 series, or it is going to be 172 series or 10 series. That means always when you are constructing your lab in your college or your organization, you will be using private addresses. Now please remember, whenever you are going to use private addresses, you cannot directly access the internet. So what we have to do? We have to place some device in between. That device is called SNAT. That device will be having two addresses. One will be private, one will be public. That means if this PC wants to open www.yahoo.com, the first request will go to this. And what this device is going to do? It will change the source address. That means because internet does not allow the access from the private addresses. So this device is going to change the address from private to public. So this is called SNAT device. Sometimes we better know this by proxy firewall. So in each and every college or organization, they have got proxy server implemented. Proxy server is nothing. It is the example of SNAT. So this is SNAT. Then we have got DNAT. Now suppose in my organization, I have got one server physical, the address of that is 192.168.0.2. And I have implemented my web server there. Now, as you know, this is private address. Nobody from the internet will be able to access this server. So what we need? We need to attach one DNAT device. Again, DNAT device will be having one private address and one public address. So what we are going to advertise to the internet people? We are going to advertise to the internet people that our address is public, because from internet you can reach public address. Now what will happen if somebody is going to request the web page from this server? They will send the request from this, and this is further going to translate the request to this, so the page will be served. So normally the bank people, they use this type of a NAT type of firewall. So let me again move to the third type of firewall. That means the first firewall is your filter. Second is your NAT. Now I am talking about your third firewall. Now when we talk about the third firewall type of firewall, that is Mangle. Now understanding this Mangle firewall is very important. Like in the morning when I was coming from my place Moga to Chandigarh, when I was coming at least at two places, the policeman stopped me for just inquiring where you are going and this type of thing. Now, I did not want the policeman to stop me. So what I can do? I can put red light on my car. Now what will happen? Because the policemen, they understand what is the meaning of red light. Red light mean some important person is going. So most probably they are not going to stop me. That means in real life, we have got two type of traffic is available. One is normal traffic and one is red light traffic. That means that will be given preference. Same way when we talk about the Mangle firewall, what happens in our networking? We have got two type of traffic. Suppose somebody is sending you a mail. If it is going to reach to you 4 or 5 seconds late, nothing is issue. But suppose if somebody is calling from so outside India, mean VIP traffic, voice over IP traffic, there what we want, we do not want any delay. That means we should have some firewall which is able to distinguish the traffic. That means that device should allow the VIP traffic should be given preference, normal traffic should not be given. Normally telecommunication companies, they use these type of firewall. And please remember, when we talk about IP tables firewall, it has got all the three facility available. That means you can use it as a filter firewall also, you can use it at a net firewall also, you can use it as a Mangle firewall also. Mangle is also called quality of service, although this is still in experimental stage. So in our case, when I will be giving you the demo, we will be dealing with the filter, then we will be dealing with the net. So now we have discussed one of the three things that are required. Now, second thing, which is the most important thing when you are implementing firewall, that is direction of firewall. Please remember, for practical purpose, I will be using 4 systems. That means I will be involving 4 computers. In my case, instead of 4 computers, I will be using 4 virtual machines. Let me make you understand how I have constructed the lab. Then we will be able to understand what I am talking about, that is direction of firewall. So in my case, I will be having one Windows system. The address of that Windows system is going to be 192.168.0.2. That means this is going to be my Windows system. Now then I have got one another system, that is Linux system, which is having the address 172.24.0.11. And we have got third system available, which is 172.24.0.30. So this is the system. That means this is Windows system, this is Linux system. If you have carefully observed, there the network is different. That means it is having the network 192.168.0. It is having the network ID 172.24. That means they will not be able to communicate because they belong to different network. So in our case, what we have to place here, we have to put router there. Now router is nothing. If you have got one network, two network, so we have to, in that router, we should have 2 interfaces. So in my case, although I have shown in the diagram Cisco router, but actually here I'm using, again going to use one Linux machine on which I have attached 2 interface card. To one interface card, I have given the address 192.168.0.1. To another, I have given the address 172.24.0.1, so that this can communicate with this and this can communicate with this and this. So in my case, this is Linux. Plus what I have done, I have implemented routing here, plus firewall is there. So in my case, this is going to be my Linux routing firewall. Now, when we are talking about the firewall, so I am here, I'm sitting in firewall. Suppose if I'm saying that this person cannot access some service on this. And please remember, in this Linux system, I have implemented telnet server, SSH server, web server, FTP server. So when I'm saying that this we cannot access this, so what is the direction? Input direction. Let me give the real life example. Now I'm taking the online classes. Before this COVID-19, most of the time I used to prefer physical classes. Suppose I'm taking the class and the time of the class is 4. So I do not want the participant to enter into my physical class after 4 p.m. That means what I'm doing, I'm allowing, disallowing the traffic. That means the person that is trying to enter into my classroom. That means the direction is input. So I will not allow this. So in this case, when we talk about direction of firewall, the first direction is your input direction. That means when the traffic is coming towards the firewall. Now the second direction is, suppose already some participants are there in my class. They want to go out. So in this case, that means from this classroom to outside, that is called output direction. So in firewall, when you are implementing the firewall, you have to keep in mind the direction. That means whether the traffic is coming towards the firewall, then you have to control the traffic in input direction. If the traffic is originating from the firewall and it is going outside, that is output direction. Now we have got one another direction. Suppose Now, if I'm saying that this PC cannot ping to this system, or this PC cannot access the web server on this, now what is happening? This is my firewall. Now traffic is crossing from this. So we call this as a forward. So please remember, whenever you are implementing, you have to keep in mind that direction. Direction is very important. Now what happens? I'm again coming to that classroom example. Suppose after 4 o'clock, I do not want to allow the people to enter. So what I will do, I will lock the room from the inside. But there is some problem with this method. If I am going to lock the room from inside, if somebody which is already has entered into the class, if that person wants to leave the class, that will not be able to leave the class. So what happens in real life? Sometimes the admins, they purchase the firewall. So what they do? They try to stop the traffic that is coming from outside to inside. So they put certain rules. But what happens actually? They are able to stop the traffic from out to inward, but by chance, as a byproduct, their internal traffic that has to go outside, that also gets blocked. So what happens by evening? The people start abusing that admin, what you have done, what you have implemented, everything is not working. So most of the time it has been found out that 60 to 70% time, when you are purchasing the firewall, by the evening or by next day, you are just removing the firewall and putting that in store, because that admin is not able to understand the direction of firewall. So in our case, when we will be implementing the firewall, when we will be stopping the traffic, we have to specify whether we want to stop it in the input direction or output direction, and third is forward direction. Now we have already discussed, that means type of firewall, and second thing is your direction of firewall. Now the third important thing, what the firewall is going to do. Normally when I take the class, I always ask the question, please tell me whether the firewall is going to stop the virus or not. So what happens? 33% people, they give the answer, yes, it is going to stop the virus. 33% people say it is not going to stop the, and 33% are always diplomatic. They say it can stop also, it can not stop also. So that means the people are confused. Now we want to discuss the third thing. The third thing is going to tell us what the firewall is going to do, what the firewall cannot do. So that is very important. Suppose if we have to do the farming, now if we are going to purchase the car, by car we cannot do the farming. Same way, if we have to put the taxi, so I am not going to buy the tractor and start running. That means according to your purpose, you have to do the things. So if you want to block the virus, then something else is required or firewall is required. So we are going to discuss that third thing. In our case, third thing, your what firewall can block and permit. And please, who is going to decide this? OSI model. Now all the people, networking people, they hate the OSI model. When we start studying the OSI model, this is the most boring thing that can happen. But please remember, if you are into advanced security or networking concept, understanding this OSI model is very important. But we are not going to take the whole 3-hour or 4-hour session on just discussing the OSI model. I'm just going to explain it in 5 minutes, because that is very important, because OSI model is going to decide what the firewall is going to block, what the firewall cannot do, because this is very important. If some of the student is, if he or she is going to say, why sir you are not teaching the Java? No, I am more comfortable in the security and networking thing. I'm not comfortable in program. Same way, when you are purchasing any device, you should know what it can do, what it cannot do. So we have to understand this OSI model, because this is going to decide which the firewall thing can block, which cannot. Now as we know, in OSI model, we have got 7 layers available. The first 3 layers are your application, presentation, and session, and it deals with data. Again, I will take one real example. Now I have got one of my friend Shekhar living in Bangalore. Suppose I want to send some Parker pen as a gift to my friend in Bangalore, Shekhar. So that pen is data. Now, when I have to send that pen, whatever model is there, then I have to wrap that as a gift. Now, what I am going to do, I will put that name of that person, Chandrasekhar, then his address, then phone number also. And plus, what I will do, I will put my information also, because that is costly pen. If he is not receiving, I want it to return back to me. So I will put my address, Vipin Gupta, this is the address, this is the phone. So same way, when one computer has to talk to the another computer, the first 3 layers deal with the data. Now, when it will reach to the transport layer, what it is going to do? It is going to add source port and destination port. Let me explain it diagrammatically. This is your data. It could be your email. It could be your web request. So it is it could be anything. Now, when we pack the data, transport layer is going to put source port and destination port. And please remember, what is source port? When we suppose today I'm going to visit some college in certain room, the room from which I am traveling, that is my source room, and where I'm reaching, that is source, that is destination room. In our networking, we call this as source port and destination port, and this whole thing is called segment. Now, what will happen when the traffic, then when this segment will reach the network, it is going to put source IP, destination IP. So this will become your packet or datagram. If the protocol is TCP, then it is packet. If it is UDP, then it is datagram. Now, what will happen? Then the traffic will go to the MAC layer, data link layer. It is going to add source MAC and destination. So this is source MAC and destination. Then this layer is going to convert it into signal, and it is going to. So that means what is happening? This is our data. Now, please remember, your firewall does not check the data. So if the virus is there, it is not going to check. So please remember, firewall is not going to remove the firewall. Remove the virus. Later on, we will see then which technology or which type of firewall we have to use to block the virus. And please remember, most of the time, firewall is going to block the traffic on these 3 things. These 6 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means you can block the traffic on the basis of source MAC, source IP, source port, destination IP, and destination MAC. Out of these also, 90% time you use only 3 things: source IP, destination port, and destination IP. So in our case also, we will be looking at the example. Later on, I will answer that question also. If you want to remove the virus, then which type of firewall you have to use. And please remember, that is why these firewalls are very fast, because they do not have to check the data. Like when we go to the airport, they check your luggage also. So it takes time in entry. But in bus stand or railway station, not much checking is there. So the processing is faster. So please always remember, these firewalls are very, very fast. And sometimes we call these as a layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4 firewall. Now, enough theory. Now we will be moving toward the practical. That means 3 things you have to remember: type of firewall. Second is the direction of firewall. The third, OSI model is going to decide which type of traffic it can block, it can allow. So in my case, I will be showing you the lab. In our case, this is the lab. So now I'm going to show you the traffic. How I have implemented the lab. In my case, I have got 4 machines. This is window machine. So one by one, I'm going to show you. So first I'm going to talk about this window machine. So in my case, I'm using one virtualization solution that is called VMware Workstation. So in this is my Windows system, because understanding this is very necessary. So I will clear the screen. That means this is my one system. So let me check the address. And please remember, in Windows, the command is ipconfig. What it is showing, 192.168.0.2 is the address. Let me go to the lab. That is our Windows system. Now I have got two Linux systems also available. Now this is 172.24.0.11 system. This is 31 system. Now I am going to show you this system. So let me again move. So this was my Windows system. Now I have written client 11. Now font size is very small. So let me make it a little bit larger. Now this is my Linux system. So here the command is ifconfig, and please participant, even if they are not comfortable with the Linux, just observe the thing. What is the fire? How this works? So you are able to understand. And I will be sharing a lot of material I have already shared, so you can have that material. So here I want to just check the address. So look at this. The address is 172.20.40.1. So in my case, what is happening? This is my XP2 machine. This is my client 11. Now I'm going to show you client 31. One by one, I'm showing you. That means in my laptop, I have got 4 machines available, virtual machines available. So I'm now talking about the third machine. Now what is the address? 172.24.0.31. So this is my third machine. That means first I'm showing you the lab. So these are the 3 machines. Now to communicate this machine with these machine, because this is having different network ID 192.168.0, this is having different ID 172.20. So I need router. So in my case, again, I have told that although in diagram I'm showing the Cisco router, but actually in my case it is Linux system. In Linux system, I have got 2 interfaces. Now let me show you this firewall. So in my case, this is my firewall, and I have written IP tables firewall. Now which command to check how many addresses are there? Ifconfig, because a lot of data is going to there, so it will scroll off the data. So in Linux you can use this ifconfig pipe symbol less command. Just I want to show. Now look at this. Ethernet 0. What is the address? 172.24.0.1. ETH1. This is 192.168.0.1. That is our firewall. So I will quit this. That means in my case, I have got 4 systems available. This is a Windows system. These are 2 Linux systems, and this is going to be our firewall. So here I am going to show you different things that I am going to use. But before that, we need to understand certain protocols. Now in this, because this is Linux system, in this I have implemented telnet server. Please remember, telnet is used for remote management. Suppose I have implemented one server is in USA. Currently, I am in Chandigarh. Now suppose there is some problem with that USA system. Now I will not go to USA to handle that server. So what I will do, I will have the remote access of that server. That means the whole screen of that system will be visible to me, and I can. So that we can use the telnet protocol. But telnet is not a secure protocol. So sometimes we use SSH. That is secure. So in my case, on this system, I have implemented telnet server also, SSH server. And I have implemented web server also. Now, what is web server? Whenever you visit any website, who is sending you the website? That is web server. So in my case, I have implemented the web server also. Then I have implemented the FTP server also. What is the FTP server? When on internet you say download this thing, Now, who is that server who is allowing you to download those things? That is FTP server. Now, I just want to show how to access from this system telnet server, server, web server, FTP server. Because later on, we will say block telnet server, block SS server, block web server. So that we are going to discuss. So first of all, from this system, I will try to access telnet, then SSH, then web. That means when I created lab, it took a lot of time and a lot of your networking and Linux knowledge. I'm just showing you once we want to confirm that everything is working. But before that, I just want to check whether this lab has been constructed properly or not. So from this system, I'm going to ping to this system. If my ping is working, that means our whole lab is correct. Then what I will do? From this system, I'm going to check my telnet is working, SS is working, web is working, FTP. And please remember, here I have got two users also available, that is Vipin and Anantika. So let me go to my system. So first of all, let me check the connectivity. So what is the connectivity? What is the command? At least this command everybody is aware. That means if you have checked the connectivity. So I'm saying ping. Ping, please go to 172.24.0.11 system. Now what it is saying? That means 4 packets sent, 4 received. That means this lab is in perfect networking. That means this whole lab is working. Because if the lab is not working properly, then I cannot show you the working of the firewall. So this is working. Now from this system, I will try to access telnet, SSH, and web and FTP. And please remember, I have whatever commands I'm running, I have already taken the screenshot and I have already shared the slides, so you can have that slides from the mem. So in my case, let me show you. So I will go to this system. So let me move to. So let me clear the screen. So now I want to check telnet. For the command is telnet. I'm saying telnet, please go to which system? Our firewall. That is 172.24.0.1. Then what is the username? Because suppose I have to go to the house of one of the participant. If I have to enter into that house, if those persons are not there, then what I have to do? I have to use the key of the lock of their house. Same way, when you're saying telnet, I'm saying telnet, please go to 172.24.0.1. It's going to ask what is the username. So Vipin is the username and whatever is the password. That means our telnet is working. It is showing now I am into firewall system. So I will press Ctrl D. That means telnet is working properly. Now we want to use SSH. So I'm saying SSH. Please go to which system? Go to 172.24.0.1 system. And when it is going to ask for the username is Vipin. So this is secure. That means SSH is also working. Why we are discussing? Because later on I will give you the example block SSH, block telnet, this type. Now we want to check whether our browser is working or not. So please remember, we have got one a browser. And now normally when we work on Linux, 95% time we work on command prompt. So sometimes the people wonder if we have to visit the website, how we are going to visit the website. And please remember, in Linux, we have got one very powerful browser is there. The name of that browser is elinks. So I'm saying elinks, please go to which address? 172.24.0.1 and please dump the page. Now that means my web server is also running. Then the last server I am going to check. So in my case, because Linux keep a history of 1000 command, if I have already run the command, no need to type me. Now I want to check the final server, whether FTP is working or not. Because when you are discussing about the firewall, your lab should be perfectly implemented. Now I'm saying FTP. Now by default, when you implement FTP server, the username is FTP, password is also FTP. That means our FTP server is also working. Now all the servers are working. Last thing that I want to check is whether ping is working or not. So I'm going to say, so that means everything is working perfectly. So now one by one, we try to see how to implement the firewall. So let me again move to the lab. So all the system from there, I am able to telnet also, SSH also, access the web server also, FTP also. Now we want to perform 5 different tasks, 6 different tasks. So one by one, we are going to perform that. Let me first make you understand. That means now we are going towards the actual implementation, how the people implement. And please remember, I take industry classes for IP tables also. Same way, this the way the lab I have constructed, same way we use it in the industry also. So let me first thing. That means block access to all services in firewall from this system. Let me increase a little bit font size. I will explain it diagrammatically. Now the first task, what I want, block access to all services on firewall from 172.24.0.11. Let me go diagrammatical. That means our first task, I want that this 172.24.0.11 system, it should not be able to access any service on this system. That means neither telnet, neither SSH, neither web, neither FTP. So this is going to be our first task. But what is going to happen? We are just blocking this. That means this will be able to access, and we will verify also. So in second task, what I want the whole network. That means 172.20.0.0 network. Whole network I want to block. That is going to be ours. But the problem is, if I am going to block this, then this will be allowed. That means first case, let me give the example. You do not want Vipin Gupta to enter into your university. That is the first task. Then second task is, I belong to one town called Moga. You are so fed up with my lecture that you do not want anybody from Moga to enter into. That we talk about the network. That means first task, single system. Then second task, we want to block the whole network. And in third task, we want everybody. That means nobody can access. And sometimes we call this as Sanjeevani Bhutti rule. What is that? Because sometimes when your system, your organization is under attack, so that time you have to block all traffic. That means in task, what I want block access to all the services from any IP. That is going to be our third task. Now that is now in all the 3 tasks, what we are doing, we are very strict. That means neither we are on telnet traffic, SSH, web or FTP. Now in real life, the things does not work in this way. If we are got website, we want the people to visit. So suppose if we have one park, what is the purpose of park if we are not allowing anybody to visit? Same way, normally we allow the web traffic. So in fourth task, what we are going to do? We will say that block the access from this system. That means we do not want that this 11 system should be able to access this telnet. This is going to be our fourth task. And before discussing fifth task, what we want. And in fifth task, what we want, this system should not be able to ping. So this system. Now we are moving towards the first task. Now what is the first task? Block access to all services from the firewall from this. So let me go to the diagram. That means now I'm here. I'm in firewall. I want that this system 172.24.0.11 system, it should not be able to access any service. Now you have to remember which direction, because I am here. The traffic is coming from this to this place. So the direction is input. So let me go to my firewall. So whenever I'm going to write the rules, where I'm going to write? I'm going to write the rules here. So let me increase the font size. So in my case, I'm just going to write that. And please remember, even if you do not remember the command, please do not get disheartened. Just try to understand what I'm trying to do. Now, first of all, I'm saying IP table. I want to use the filter firewall, because what we are doing, we are filtering the traffic from 172.24.0.11. So I'm saying IP tables minus T mean type of firewall. I'm saying filter. Then I'm saying A mean add the rule. In which direction? Input direction. Then I'm saying source 172.24.0.11. Then what action I want to perform? J mean jump, drop. So let me make you understand. Because when we are talking about the firewall, three things. The first thing was, this is the firewall. We are saying which type of firewall, whether you want to use the filter, NAT or mangle. In our case, we are saying, because this IP tables supports all the three firewalls. So we are saying filter. Then second thing, direction. In which direction I want to block in input? It could be input, it could be output, it could be forward. Then out of those six things, we are saying the traffic which is coming from this 172.24.0.11, please drop. Now what we are going to do, we will verify. So in our case, I will go to 11 system. Let me clear the screen. Now what I am going to do, I will say ping. It is not pinging. With Control C, I have to cancel. Then I will say E-links. E-links is also not working. What about telnet at FTP? SSH. It is not working. You can cancel with Control C. Even telnet is not working. Same way your FTP will not. That means all the services. So I will cancel. But what about this system? What about this system? So what will you do? I will try to ping and telnet from this system. So what we have written, suppose in your university, there is one security guard or number of security guard. To them, you have said that please do not allow Vipin Gupta to enter. Suppose some Amit Gupta is there. So they will not stop those person, only Vipin Gupta. So in our case, we have written 172.11. Now we want to check whether our firewall is working properly or not. So what we will do, we will go to this system. So in my case, I'm going to this system, 31 system. So please, the students who are not comfortable participant with the virtualization, in my case, I've got 4 systems available. So when I have to go to the firewall, I click on this. When I go to client 11, I click on this. When I have to go to 31 there, and when I have to go to XP, I click on this. Now I want to test from 31. So what we are going to do? So we are going to ping. I'm saying ping 172.24.0.1. It is pinging. And what about the telnet? So I will not type if already there. Same way, other services will also work. I mean, the first task we were able to complete successfully. Now what I want, before moving towards the second task, I have to remove the instructions. Please remember how to remove the instruction. Instead of A, we are going to say D. delete the instruction. That means first the university people have said that please do not, they have instructed the security guard, please do not allow Vipin Gupta. Then what they have taken back the instruction. That means now what we have said, delete the rules. So now I will clear. Now we want to move towards the second task. So what was the second task? Block access to all services on firewall from this network. That means now in our case, in this network, 11 system is there, 31 system is there. That means now we want to rule. This should also not work. This should also not work. So again, in which direction? It will be input direction and filter type of firewall. So one by one, we are giving the examples. So I will move to the firewall. So again, so in my case, this is the rule. I'm just going to change certain things. So I'm going to say 0. This 16 represents, that means 172.24 network. Anything could be in host portion. So we are writing this rule. Now how I'm going to verify? First, we will go to the 11 system. Now we are not going to check each and everything. 1 or 2. So telnet is not working. We will check 1. SSH is not. 11. What about this 31? Now it should not also work. What did it say? It is not working. Ping. Ping is also not. But what about this system? Have we restricted 192.168.0.2? So what we will do? We will go to the Windows system. Clear the lab. What we are going to say? Telnet 224.0.2 is working. Now what we want? That means now we want in third task. But before implementing the third task, what we are going to do? In our case, we are going to remove this. So that was the second task. Now what happens? Sometimes your organization is under attack. Suppose my house is under attack. I have got 10 rooms, 10 doors. Suppose I have got big house and 10 doors are there. Now, if one group is attacking our house, at that time, I will not start thinking which door I should close, which thing should I. At that time, what we will try to do? We will try to lock all the doors, everything. We will try to block everything. So in third rule, please remember a very important rule, because what happens sometimes distributed denial of service attacks are there. Sometimes a lot of hackers are attacking your system. They are stealing your data. At that time, what you want? You want complete block to access. That means you want the access to be blocked. So we are going to write the third rule. What is going to be the third rule? And sometimes very important rule. So here what I'm saying. So now what I'm saying, one IP tables type of firewall is filter A input. We are not specifying any the address. If we do not specify the address, it is going to block each and everything. Now, if I'm going to go towards this system, whether this system, or this system, it will not work. I'm not showing that because we have to cover a lot of things. Sometimes I give the example, if you are purchasing one pistol from me, if you are going to say whether it is going to kill the person or not, I cannot test that. But here, due to lack of time. So that means if you are going to implement that rule, from this we cannot assess, this we cannot assess, this we can. So that is sometimes very important. But with all three rules, there was one problem. They were too restrictive rules. They were blocking each and everything. Especially they were blocking the web server. So before the break time, we want to discuss the fourth rule. Then we will have a 10 minutes break. That means this is very important rule. Now what I want block to access to telnet server, because normally these day companies do not allow the people to access telnet because telnet is not a secure protocol. So generally the companies discourage the people from using the telnet. Now what the firewall admin want? They want that 172.24.0.11 system should not be able to tell network system. And please remember, this rule is very critical. And admin's 50% life revolves around this rule. So we have to be careful. So let me first write the rule, and then I will try to make you understand what is the meaning of this rule. So in my case, I will go to the firewall. First of all, that is the last rule before the break. So I will delete this. We did not test this rule, but it is going to work. Now the fourth rule is very important. So I'm saying IP tables. Again, type of firewall is filter. Then I'm saying A, again in input direction. Then important thing, because now we are dealing with the port. Now telnet works on 23 ports. Please remember, if you are going to visit any university, now each professor, they have got certain room available. That means if I have to visit this professor, I have to go to this room. If I have to visit principal, I have to go to this room. Same way, each and every server has got one fixed room available that is called port. And when we talk about telnet SSH, these are TCP based services. So we have to say protocol is TCP. From which source address? 172.24.0.11. Now where the traffic is going, that is very important. And please remember, when you are writing this destination port, 2 hyphen you have to place. And please remember, Linux is very case sensitive. If A is capital, that means you have to write in capital. If input is in capital, you have to write in. Then what we are going to say? What action we want to perform? Drop. So in our case, what we are saying? IP tables, please filter the traffic. In which direction? Input direction. Protocol is TCP. From where the packet is originating? From this address. And where it is going? It is going towards the 23 ports of, that means what you are doing? That means now suppose the instructions are to the security key, please when the weapon is trying to enter into the university, please allow the entry into 22 room, allow the entry in 80 room. 22 room is for SSH, 80 room is for web server. But please do not allow this one room 23. So that security guard will ask me when I am going to say that I want to go to this, he will check, then he will not allow. If we are, sometimes when we visit certain organizations, certain areas are allowed, certain are not allowed. So here we are blocking the traffic according to. Now let us verify. So in our case, I will go to this system. Now what we are going to say? We are going to say telnet. It is not allowing telnet. But what about SSH? SSH is working. Even your ping is going to work. Ping is going to work. And what about the 31 system? Let us go there. So in our case, let us check first telnet. Now it is allowed there. Repeat, it is allowed. So that means we were able to properly implement this block access to telnet server on firewall from. We will further explain this rule because I already told that and firewall admin's 50% time is spent around about this rule. So we will be further discussing this. So now I will just take certain question or end of the session we will see. So let me just check if any chat questions are there. Okay, I have already shared the, is the 8th layer human layer, and why not the 8th layer OSI model? That is a basically good question. Actually, your devices work properly. Most of the time, the problem is with the person who is handling the firewall. But in that is not, 8th layer is not there. Networking people are trying to reduce the layers. So I think we should have a 10 minutes break. It is okay, or should I continue?
Yes, Vipin. We'll take 10 minutes break.
Okay, sir.
Vipin, some participants are asking for a PPT and PDF.
Sir, you can share that. No issue for me. So you can give those slides because this will be helpful to them. So
Yes,
you can share.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you may share your PPT to chairperson's ID. Then we will
Okay.
share to all participants.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So, sir, should I stop sharing this screen, or the screen should just I should?
Sorry.
So I'm stopping sharing this. So 10 minutes later, I will again share the screen.
Yes,
so
yes.
I will again meet at 5:10.
5:10, right. So
Okay.
participants, we will take 10 minutes break. We will again meet at 5:10 p.m. Vipin?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Should we start now?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay. Now you may start next session.
Okay. So I was just saying one or two questions. Somebody was asking that is home network is example of SNet? Yes, true. Home network is example of your SNet. And regarding lab setup, if the time will permit, I will be discussing how I have set up the lab. Because for setting up the lab, you require a lot of advanced Linux knowledge plus server knowledge. Then you can implement that type of lab. So now again, I'm moving toward that practical portion. So I've already shared the screen. So now we were talking about the 4th rule. That means this rule is very important. Now we have blocked the telnet access. Suppose I want to block web server access. Now what I am going to do? Now if you want to block telnet, then you have blocked the 23 port. Now you have to just remember on which port your web server works. We know that web server works on 2 ports. One is 80 if it is a HTTP site, and if it is HTTPS site, then 443. Most of the time, if we have got HTTP site, so we are blocking it with the 80 port. So if I have to block the web server, so now what I have to write? IP tables, again filter. A is input, P is protocol, then source is 11, destination port 80. So I'm just going to enter. That means now I want which type of access to block. That means this is the extension of our 4th task. That means we block the telnet. We want to block now web server. So we now specify the port as 80. Now how I am going to check? So in my case, I will go to the 11 system. So we are going to say telnet. It is not working. And if I have to check the web server, then which is the command? This elinks. Now it should not be working. Now it is not working. But what about SSH? SSH is working. That means firewall is your supreme security. By firewall, you can block each and everything. Suppose today at 7 p.m. one new server is going to be launched. Suppose that server's name is VPN server. Now you want to block that server. Now you have to just ask, what is the port number of that web server? Suppose the port number of that VPN server is 420. Then what you have to write? You have to simply specify that 420. Then it will get. So firewall is a supreme security. It can block access to each and every service that can be launched on network. Now, till now, what we have done, we have written the rules. Sometimes, like now, I have written two rules. If I am going to reboot the system, what will happen? Or if I'm going to close this system, all the rules will be gone. So please remember, if you want these rules to be saved, then you have to run this command, service IP tables save. Sometimes in our case, what we are doing, we are just writing one rule, then deleting the rule just for understanding purpose. But in real life, when you are implementing the firewall, there could be 1000 rules. So if you have written the 1000 rule, and if you have not run this command, if your system, you are going to power off your system or reboot your system, all will be gone. So you have to save by using IP table service IP table save. And sometimes, suppose I was the admin of, suppose ABC organization was there. I was the admin of firewall. Now I have left with that organization. Now when the second admin will come, how he or she is going to know which rule was written by me? So we have got one command available with us to check the rules. That is IP tables. That means now I'm showing you certain commands which are for managing the firewall rule. Now what this command is saying, IP tables list. So what it is showing? It is showing me the DNS names. That is client11.example.com. Sometimes we are not interested in the DNS names. So what, instead of running this command, we say -n, no DNS. Just show us that as. And suppose we have written 100 rules and we want to delete all the rules. One was the option, that means the rule you have written, instead of A, you are going to write D. But another very good command is there. Sometimes if you are not comfortable with the firewall, we always say that please run this command, IP table flush. Now what happens when we flush? You will see that all the rules are gone. So sometimes we have to, if we almost disable the firewall, we generally run the command IP tables -f. It will flush all the rules. But again, if we have saved the rule, again they will come back. So again, you have to run this command. Now we are moving towards the fifth task, which is a little bit controversial. And it generally tests the knowledge of networking professionals. So now what we want, again, please remember, I'm again saying, we are now talking about the fifth rule, block ping to firewall. Whenever I teach this rule, how to block ping, I always say that this is sometimes controversial rule. Now we will see what is the controversy. And sometimes I say it also tests the networking skill of the networking administrator. So now in my case, what I want to block the ping. Now generally, please remember, most of the time, the server which are public facing or internet facing, most of the time they disable the ping. Why they disable the ping? Because almost 95% hacking tools, they use the they use ping type of utility to find out whether the system is alive or not. So if you have even disabled the ping, that means you are making your network almost 95% safe. So now we will see how to block the ping. So in my case, what I want, that this system should not be able to ping to this system. So I have to write the rule. And again, the direction is input. Then after that, we will be discussing forward direction also. Now I'm writing the rule. I'm saying IP tables, type of firewall is your filter. Then we are saying A mean add the rule in input direction. And now protocol. Please remember your pings come under ICMP protocol, Internet Control Message Protocol. And what is the source? 24. And sometimes I also ask the participant whether they are, college participant or industry participant, on which port this ping works. Sometimes I get surprising answer. They start guessing. Please remember this ICMP or ping does not require any port. This is simply a messenger protocol. It is not a server. So when you are blocking the ping, you did not need to specify any port. So always remember this. So I'm saying drop. So I'm saying IP table, type of, again firewall is filter, input direction. Which protocol I want to block? ICMP, because ping come under this ICMP protocol. So here we cannot specify ping. You have to remember, like telnet, SSS, they come under your TCP protocol. If it is a DNS or your TFTP server, they come under UDP protocol. Now I'm saying, now what I will do, I will go to which system? 11 system. So what we are going to do? Ping. Now this is not working. Now I was saying that this is controversial rule. Now I ask the participants. Now our ping is not working. Now I always ask the participant whether telnet is going to work or not. Because when we normally teach networking, we say that please give this address to this system, give this address to this system, then try to ping. If the ping is working, that means they are in networking. If the ping is not working, they are not in networking. That is normally how we teach the networking. Now here in our case, I'm saying my ping is not working. Now my question is, I always ask, whether telnet is going to work or not? Let us test. Again, when I ask the 33%, almost 1/3, they say it will work. 33% say it will not work. Always 1/3 are diplomatic. They will say it might work, it might not work. So let us see. So what is happening? Telnet is working. Please remember, firewall does not work on emotions. That ping is not working, so telnet should not work. So it works on real facts, because in our case, what we have done, we have not blocked, we have only blocked which? We have just blocked ICMP. So it is just going to block ping. It is not going to block telnet. So please remember, if you are pinging to some system, even if the ping is not working, that does not mean that your system is not networking with that system. Might be there some other services might be working. So but this is one very good rule. Almost all the admins, they normally block the ping access, because then they reduce their attack surface. That means attacks get reduced by at least your 95%. So that was the 5th rule. Now I'm going to delete this. Now we are moving towards the 6th task. So we will see what will happen. So that 6th, now I'm saying block ping from 192.168.0.2 to 172.24.0.11. Let me explain it diagrammatically. Now what I want, I'm saying keep this system 192.168.0.2 system, it should not be able to ping to this system. Now my firewall is here. Now you have to remember in which direction. Now I'm here. Now the traffic is just crossing through this firewall. So please remember, we have to put the rule in forward direction. First, let me check whether the ping is working. Then what we are going to do? We want that this system should not be able to ping this to this system that we want to use. So in my case, I will, that means we are now moving toward another direction. So I'm saying ping. Then we will have, after that rule, we will be having one SNet rule, one DNet rule also. 24, 0.11. It is working. Now we want to say that this should not work. So let me clear the screen. So I will go to the firewall. I will start writing the rule. So I will say IP tables. Type is again filter. A is not input. Please, most of the administrators, they fail on direction because they are not able to properly determine the direction. If you are not able to properly determine the direction, then you are never going to be a good firewall administrator. Then we are saying protocol is ICMP. Now from which source? We are saying 192.168.0.2. Where it is going? Destination 172.24.0.11. J mean drop. Now look at this. Very simple. Once you have understand what is the type of firewall, what is the direction, what thing you can block, then writing rule is very simple. IP tables, filter. A mean add the rule in forward direction. Which protocol? Because we want to block the ping. So we are saying protocol is ICMP. From which source? 192.168.0.2. Where it is going the packet? 172.24.0.11. Just drop. Again, diagrammatically, from this to this, it should be through the forward direction. Now, how we are going to verify? Now we will try to ping. Now the ping is not going to work. That means we can put the rule in forward direction. So I will cancel this. Now I am going to remove this rule. Let us check another rule in forward direction. So in my case, we are going to say delete. Now, from this system, let me go to diagram. From this system, I will try to telnet. In my case, on this system also I have implemented FTP telnet NSS. And here I have created two users, Amit and Ramit. Now from this system, I'm going to telnet to this system. Let us first see whether telnet is working or not. So in my case, I will go to this lab. I'm going to say telnet 172.24.0.11. Their user is Amit, whatever. So we are able to. Now what I want, this system should not be able to telnet to that system. First we have verified. From this system, we are able to telnet. Now I'm saying to my firewall, please stop this traffic. Now I'm going to write this rule. And this is one of the biggest rule that I am going to write. And when I write this rule, sometimes I get certain comments which are not in very good taste. So let us first write the rule, then we will see what the comments generally I get. So first let me write the rule. This is one of the biggest rule that you have to write. So we are going to say IP7 type of firewall is filter. Again, direction is your forward. Forward. Then I'm saying because we are going to block telnet traffic 23 port. So I'm saying protocol is TCP. Now source is again 192.168.0.2. What is the destination? It is 172.24.0.11. Then destination port 23 J drop. So what is the comment I get? Sir, you have got strong rectification. No rectification. Once you have understood how the firewall works, what are the three things? You can write as much bigger rules as you want. You have to be just clear. So in this case, what we are saying, we are just saying, okay, please, when we are writing the table, it is forward direction. Source is this minus S. We are specifying the source, where it is going, minus D, destination, on which port it is going, on it is 23 port. So we have just written the rule. Now we are going to verify whether it is working or not. So it is not working. That means immediately when you write the rule, immediately that get affected. So it is not working. So automatically after some time it will time out. So now in my case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. Now before moving, I just want to show you two rules. One I want to discuss about SNet, and one I want to discuss about DNet. That means we have already seen firewall. We are not seeing the output rule. Again, in output, if the time will permit, I will show the output rule, or in these slides, each and everything is there. Even IPv6 implementation is there. But here we are sticking with the IPv4 implementation. Now, I just want to show one example of first SNet. Then we are going to show you one example of DNet. Now we have seen that from this system, we are able to telnet. Then with firewall, we blocked this SS. That means we specified, that means block the traffic. Now what we have done again, let me again show. That means we deleted the rule. With D, we deleted the rule. And sometimes you can check with this also, whether any rule is there or not. No rule is there. By default, what it is saying, input direction, accept, forward. That means by default, if you are not going to write any rule, by default, each and every traffic will be allowed. So we have to deny this traffic. Now, let's again check whether now telnet is working or not. It is. I have created one Vipin user also, one Amit user was also there. Now, for making you understand how the SNet work, what I'm going to do, I have to make little bit changes in this lab. Now, please remember, Linux is very strong. It has got the firewall that we are discussing. That is a very strong firewall. Almost I have said that 30% of the industry and organization, they use this firewall. The only problem is everything is in text mode. And so some person, they are not comfortable with this. Now, not only firewall security is available in Linux, approximately 11 type of securities are there. So now I will go to this system and I will try to implement another type of security. So let us first go to this system, because for making you understand SNet, I have to make certain changes in lab. So I'm going to go into this 11 system. So let me go into 11 system. So here we are going to open one file, because I just do not want to, you can say, this is the file. In Linux, we have got this file, etc host.dri file. So what is this file? Now, please remember, this is 11 number system. 11 system numbers, client 11 system has got admin. That admin, what is going to do? This admin is going to say, it is commented line. It is saying in telnet D 192.168.0.2. That means please do not allow telnet access. Please remember, whatever service we are going to write here in telnet 192. Let me take one real example. Suppose this real example is just for example purpose. Suppose I'm saying that I will not teach any person who belongs to Chandigarh. I'm just giving the example. Okay, I will not teach any person, whether online or physical classes, who belongs to Chandigarh. Suppose some person who is from Chandigarh, he's finding my lecture okay, so he wants to attend. Now he knows that sir is not going to allow any person from Chandigarh to attend his lecture. So what he can pretend, ki sir, I am from Ludhiana. Now when he is or she is going to say I am from Ludhiana, I will allow him. Now in this case, what this system is saying, it is putting one condition. Okay, I am not going to allow 192.168.0.2 system to access telnet on me. So what is this system? 11 system. Now check, let us check. That means this admin has put some condition. Okay, I am not allow this system because what is the address of this system? Let me show you. This is the true address. Now what I will do? I will try to telnet. What is happening? Because that admin has put the restriction, I will not allow. Now let us go to our example. Now what is happening? When I am saying telnet to this system, now this person has stopped the access. This person is saying that admin, I will not allow. Now the problem is this traffic is crossing through this firewall. Now this firewall, what it can do? It can change the source address from 192.168.0.22, suppose 12. Like when I was giving the example, that person is saying, I do not belong to Chandigarh, I belong to Ludhiana. Same way, when the traffic is crossing through the firewall, what the firewall can do? It can perform source netting. So I can say, please change the address to 12. Now what will happen? When the address will change to 12, what will happen? When the traffic will reach here, so it will check what is the source address. It will say it is not 2. That means it is not Chandigarh, it is Ludhiana. So it will run. So now how to write that rule? Let me show you. So I will move into the firewall, and please, this rule will help you in understanding the NAT also, how that work. So in my case, so this is the rule. So let me explain. So what is the rule? I am saying IP tables. Type of firewall is now NAT. If it is filter, then you have to use the filter. If it is mangle, then mangle. Now please remember, whenever you are using NAT, here you have to use one post routing or pre-routing. Please remember, post routing mean this is some routers concept. I will not go into large detail, but let me. Post routing mean when to change the source address. Post routing mean when the routing decision has been taken. Pre-routing mean please change the source address still when routing decision has not been taken. So always remember, when we are using the SNet, always use this post routing. So we are saying a post routing. This is a module. This is optional. You can skip this. So we are saying protocol is TCP. Source from where the packet is coming, 192.160.2 minus D, where it is going. It is going 172.24.0.11. Then what you are going to do? J mean SNet, perform source netting. What you are going to do? -2 source. That means change the source address to this. So in our case, we have already written this rule. How you are going to verify? So what you can do? IP tables list. Now please remember, when you are running the list command, it is only going to show you the filter rules. So if you want to list the netting rule, you have to specify the NAT also. So this rule is written. Now let us again go there. Now let us check what will happen. So let me diagrammatically. Now when the packet will go through this, what it is going to do? It will perform SNetting. mean change the address from 2 to 12. So we will see what will happen, whether now the access will be allowed or not. As you can see, now the access is. So this is SNet. So I'm going to just click. We are going to delete the rule. So I'm going to say delete, and then we are going to unchange. That means whatever the modification we made, we are going to restore those changes. That means this was the file, sorry, not on 31 system, on 11 system. Now the last rule that we are going to discuss, we are going to comment this. Now let us discuss your DNet. So in our case, we have the input direction we have covered. We have covered the forward direction. We have just given the example of SNet. Now I'm going to give the example of DNet. Now from this system, now I will try to assess this telnet, but please carefully look which address I'm going to write. So I'm onto this system. That means now I'm giving you the example of DNet, and understanding this example is very important because a lot of people misuse this facility of DNet, and it could be very problematic for you people for security point of view. So let me first, now what I am going to do, I'm typing 41 here. That means what I'm writing, telnet 172.24.041. Now, if you carefully are going to look at this lab, is there any 41 system? No, there is no 41 system. So what will happen if you are going to run this command? It will try to connect, but it will not be able to connect. But why I am writing this 172.24.0.41? Because earlier the address of this system was 172.24.0.11. Now, sorry, 41. Now it has been changed to 41. Nobody knows about the new address. So what they are trying to assess. Now what happens? Sometimes we have got office somewhere. Sometimes we shift the office. Now what happens? The person who does not know that this office has got shifted, they still go to the old office. So sometimes what we do, at old office place, we put some paper or some some board there that this office has now shifted to this place. Now same way, what is happening here? The people are still trying to connect to 41 system. So one is to just tell those people that now the address is 11. But sometimes if your client is crowd of people are your client, like Facebook, your Google, I mean millions of people are there. Sometimes when they are making the changes, it is not possible to tell each and everybody that this is like when the compact got purchased by the HP. So when we used to open www.compact.com, it used to go to the HP site. Now what I want, I still want that this should work. That means if somebody is going to type this should work. So what I have to write? I have to write some DNet rule. So in my case, I'm going to write DNet rule. So let me show you this rule. This is the DNet rule. So I'm saying IP tables, again, type of firewall is net. I'm saying A mean add. In which direction? I'm saying, I'm saying pre-routing. Please, whenever you are changing the address, please change the address before routing decision. Because generally, what the router do? They take the decision based on your destination. So if we have to change the destination, then we have to use the pre-routing chain. Then again, protocol is TCP. We are saying the source address is 192.160.2. Where it is going? Destination 172.24.0.41. Then what we are saying? Jump, perform the action DNAT, change the destination to 172.24.0.11. So when we are going to write this rule, let us observe what is going to happen. Now when we are going to write, what will happen? The traffic will cross to the firewall. Now this is going to change the destination address from 41 to 11. So the traffic will go there. That is why I verify it physically. It is working. Now why I said that sometimes the people misuse this rule. Now how they misuse this rule? Suppose the traffic is going to some original bank site. We know that each and every bank site has got some IP address. Suppose one is original bank site, one is your fake website. Now cloning is possible. Now if your traffic is crossing through some router which is under the control of hacker, so what will happen? That can change. That means that person can say that DNAT, it can specify the address of that hacker, that fake websites, fake bank sites address. What will happen when you are going to open the site? Instead of going it to the correct bank site, it can go. That is why sometimes we say when we have to assess that site, your system is also important. The system where you are going, that is also important. Through the path which you are going, that is also important, because these type of firewall or even devices, they can change the address. So now what we were able to do, we were able to do this. That means we were able to assess and it is working. So in my case, let me delete this rule. Now enough example, let us discuss a little bit more thing theoretically, then because 10 to 15 minutes I want to question. So in my case, I am sharing each and everything. So sometimes when we are writing the rules, and these are all how to assess the telnet, SSH, FTP, E-links and ping. So in my case, I have shown everything how to assess. One command I just want to show you. Sometimes what happens? You want to block a number of ports. That means what we were doing. In our case, we were blocking the 23 port. Then we were blocking the 23 port, sorry, 80 port. We have to write two different commands. But please remember, we have got another very useful command. That means we can say IP tables, type of firewall is filter. A mean input direction. Module is optional. If you are not going to say anything, by default it will take module. Then this module multi-port. That means you can specify multi-ports. Then protocol TCP, here you can specify destination port 2323, 80. That means with one command, you can block number of services. Now again, before I start taking the question, still we have got a certain time available. So I'm just going to show you one very advanced firewall concept. So let me again write some rule. That means till now, whatever we have covered, it is a lot of things we have covered. But sometimes even after this much of knowledge, we do not say that that admin is a complete admin. So in my case, I'm just going to show you another example, which is very critical. That is called directional filtering. That is called directional filtering. So what is directional filtering? For that, I'm going to take two examples. Now, first example, I'm going to write This is the example that I'm going to write. So in my case, what I'm going to do, we will see what is the problem with this rule. Now this is the rule, IP tables. Type of firewall is filter. We will continue up to 6 o'clock. Then I will take the question. I'm saying IP tables. Type of firewall is filter. I'm saying A forward, protocol ICMP. What we are saying? Source is 192.168.0.2 and destination is 172.24.0.11. Now let us see what happens. And when we are writing the rule, what is the problem with this rule? Till now, what we were writing, we were just looking at the advantage. That means it was doing all the things. But we will see something is missing here. So in my case, let us paste. That means now what I have done, I have written the rule. Now what this rule is going to do? We know that this rule is going to block the traffic. Let me go there. From this, we will not be able to ping. So let us check. Then we will see what is the problem. Ping 172.24.0.11. Okay, it is not pinging. That is what we wanted. But there is one problem. The problem is same that I discussed earlier. What was the earlier problem regarding classroom? That means in my case, if I was taking the physical class after 4 o'clock, I do not want anybody to enter into my class. Now, what I will do, I will lock the room from inside. That means now the outside person will not be able to come to my room. But the problem, what was the problem? If at 4:15 somebody from the inside that want to go, that will not be able to. But that was not the purpose. Our purpose was only the person from outside, they should not be able to come inside, but inside. Now in our case, what has happened? From this, we are not able to ping. But let us see whether from this system we are able to ping or not. In our case, what we wanted from this, we do not want it to ping to this system. That we have achieved. But let us see the fallback. That means what is the disadvantage of writing the rule in this way? So in my case, from this system, I'm going to ping to this system. Let us see what happens. So in my case, I'm going to say ping 192.168.0.2. Now that is the problem. That means this is the problem with most of the admins. Once they block in one direction, the traffic automatically get blocked in the reverse direction. So most of the admins, they are afraid to handle the firewall. So in our case, we do not want this to happen. So an admin should have the knowledge of directional filtering. That means, what is the meaning of directional filtering? That means, in our case, what we want? We want that when we are writing the rule, this should block from this to this only, not from this to this. That firewall admin can only implement who knows about directional filtering. So I'm just going to give one example. Now what I want that from this to this, it should not ping, but from this to this, because in our rule, what we have written, it was not the correct. But sometimes what happens when we take certain medicine, it is going to cure that disease, but there might be side effect. So in our case, till now, whatever rules we have written, they were also having side effect, but we did not study because most of the participants, they might be beginners in fiber. But here I'm just showing one example. That means of this direction filtering. That means now I want only from this direction it should be blocked, not from this direction. So in my case, I'm just going to change the rule. Let me write the rule. and then I will explain that. So in my case, I'm moving towards this. So let me write the rule. Now please remember, I'm saying IP tables, again filter, A mean forward, B ICMP, source is again 192.160.0.3, destination. Now what I am saying, ICMP type. Now please remember, whenever we send the ping, when we send the ping, that is called ping. When we receive the answer, that is pong. And sometimes we call the packet you send, that is further categorized as echo request. And you get the packet back, that is echo reply. Again, just for knowledge purpose, I'm just discussing this because without that, the firewall will not be. That means further ICMP packet is divided into. That means ICMP type has got two type of packet. When you send the ping, that is echo request. You get the reply, that is your echo reply. So when we are not specifying the type, what happened? So let me again go to the diagram. That means in first case, I was not specifying the type. So what was happening? It was sending the echo request. In return, it was getting the echo reply. So by default, both are stopped. So in this case also, what was happening? Here going, that means it was able to block all the packets, echo request and echo request. Now what we are saying? We are saying, this is the last example, that because this is will become too difficult. So here we are saying, IP table, please just block the echo request. So when the traffic from this will go, that will be echo request. So we are blocking in that direction. So from that direction, we are not blocking. That means we are saying 192.1.2 to this 11 echo request. But when we are going to ping from 11 system, here the rule will be different. That will not be get blocked. So let me check. Although I did not want it to cover this because it might be little bit confusing whoever are just looking at the firewall for the first time. But let us see. That is what we wanted. But look at this. This is what. So as a firewall admin, you should be able to implement directional filtering. Otherwise, what is happening most of the time, I have seen the practical examples of university colleges purchasing the firewalls, and then after some time they are just putting that in. That means they are no longer using that firewall. So let me delete this rule. Now let me discuss 2 or 3 things more, not now a demo type of thing. Now, when I was talking about firewall, I said that in your case, when we are talking about firewall, what it is going to do? It is not going to block the virus because this is layer 2, layer 3, layer 4 firewall. Because this firewall does not check the data. Now, where will be your virus? It will be in the data. So we want certain firewall which should be able to block that, you can say, can check that data. So in Linux, we have got that type of firewall available. And that firewall is called application level firewall. We are not going to cover that. Application level firewall. The name of that firewall is Squid. Squid proxy server. Proxy server. That means what we can do? We can, by default, when you install Linux, IP table is there. That means layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. And with one command, you can install Squid proxy. Please remember, 95% market share is with the Squid server. So Squid is application level firewall. You can combine this with one free antivirus is there, which is available in Linux, that is Claim antivirus. So what we do, we combine IP table with Squid with Claim antivirus. Now it all become your UTM. Like in lecture, we have mentioned UTM device. UTM means Universal Threat Management, because we do not only want layer 2 traffic to block, layer 3, layer 4. What we can do? We can implement firewall. Then what we can do? We can implement this Squid proxy server also. That will cover your layer 7, and we can combine it with the Claim antivirus. So this will become your whole UTM, that too free. That means these days, most of the people, they are moving towards the open source. And open source, most of the software, they are free. Free does not mean that they are less in quality. I have found out that this IP table is extremely powerful. A lot of industries, they are using. And then this Squid is itself very strong. And we can combine this with the Claim antivirus. So it becomes your perfect UTM device, Universal Threat Management device. So that so in my case, I think I have covered all the things. So in my case, this whole, I have already said that you can share the slides, and I will be sending immediately after the class. I will be, one email ID is with me. So immediately I will be sending those slides. So everything I have given, even in this IPv6 implementation is also there. Because I can cover 2 or 3 things more, but I think that will make the things a little bit difficult. So I will just ask the organizer, should I give a little bit 1 or 2 more complex examples, or should we go to the question? Sir.
Thank you, Vipin. I request participants to ask questions if they have. So the one who will raise their hand, we will allow them to ask question. We will unmute them, and they may ask questions.
So meanwhile, I will be checking the chat box if there is any question. Can we save different?
Chat box, we are having certain questions here.
Yes, sir. Can we save different IP tables to choose one from save next time? Yes, in our case, sometimes what happens, sometimes when we are implementing the firewall, so what we do, we try different combinations. So what we can do, when we are writing, there is one command IP table save. So what we can do, we can run that command IP table save, then we can give the name of the file. So what will happen, suppose we have written 11 rules. So that 11 rules will get saved to that one file. Then another testing, we are writing 100 rules. That can also saved as a firewall. So that means you can do that. That was question from that, can we have different firewalls to choose one from the save? So that was the question. The next question is, sir, what is the difference in blocking a port and having a closed port? Now, please remember, again, same thing, because what happens, suppose you are running Nmap tool, like in my case, I was blocking the 23 port. Now, when you are going to run Nmap command, normally hacker use that Nmap tool. Now, what happens when you are going to use the Nmap tool, either it is going to show you the closed port or filtered. Normally, if we have implemented the firewall, then it is going to show you that this is filtered. But what happens? I am not going to run the command, but I will show you just what is the meaning of close. Suppose if I'm going to run this command, just I'm giving the answer of that. Check config telnet off. That means I am disabling that server. So that time it will show the close port. Now in our case, we are not, that means if I'm going to run that command, if you are going to perform Nmap scanning, there it is going to show close port. But if I am going to block my that firewall loop, that is going to show filtered. So that was the answer of your question. What is the difference in blocking a port and having a closed port? Then I will move to the first. I'm just going from the chat box. How can we connect weapon? so I will be just for let me answer that question. So this is my email address. So I'm sharing that, and this is my. So that is your question. That was very surprising question. So that is my phone number. So hopefully this answered your question. How we can connect. So, sir, what firewall you put in? IP tables firewall. In my case, the firewall by default it is in Linux. IP tables firewall. Sir, all the commands
you can ask your question. Just unmute yourself. You may ask your question.
Yes. And then another question is, sir, all the command use only for IP. In our case, we have used IPv4 firewall only. If you have to use IP6, then IP6 table command is there. So meanwhile, the persons can ask the question, and meanwhile, I will be opening the chat box also. So if somebody want to ask, they can ask.
Good evening, sir. Sir, thank you for the informative session. The session was very nice. We have learned a lot of things in this session because till today we were only reading and understanding, but this gave us a very practical knowledge of how they are working. But I have got one problem. Sir, I want to segregate TCP, UDP or ICMP packet in different, only the port, because usually we see that dynamic ports are assigned in the routing.
Please repeat the question. Please repeat.
Sir,
yes.
Sir, when I'm trying to get the network profile using Wireshark, there are different port numbers we are seeing. We are unable to know what is the which traffic, whether it is TCP, UDP or ICMP. Because how to get such type of traffic when the dynamic ports are used?
Okay. Very good question. In my case, I've just shown you one example of direction filtering. There is another option which is very advanced, connection tracking. That means in our case, when I was giving the example, I was just we are writing the simple rule. In the last example, I just give one rule, direction filtering. Now there is another advanced concept of firewall that is called connection tracking. In connection tracking, what happens? It automatically keeps note of the those dynamic port. So that is called also called stateful firewall also. So when we implement that connection tracking, in connection tracking, here in when I was blocking ICMP, I said echo request, echo reply. When you are using that type, there we use the word new, related, establish. So there we have to use one keyword related, which will be able to handle dynamic port. But because that is very complex rules, so that I have not covered. But in this case, conceptually you can use connection tracking type of rule can use that will help in that type dynamic port management. Is this clear, your answer?
Thank you, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay. Any other question? Then I will be chat box. I also will looking at. Any other participant? Please, people are free to ask any question except personal questions.
Some questions here. I'm just asking.
Yes,
can we apply content filtering through firewall?
Yeah. When we are talking content filtering in firewall, not advanced options are not available. So for that, you have to use the squid proxy. So what we do, we combine those both concepts and we implement transparent proxy. Transparent proxy mean we are using IP tables also, we are using squid proxy. Because in content filtering, very basic facilities are available. So that is not suitable for content filtering. For filtering, only squid proxy are very suitable. So we combine in transparent proxy. So that becomes one perfect product. Is this okay, sir?
There's one more question. How can we configure firewall to stop distributed denial of services type of attacks?
Sir, in this, we have got one option, rate limiting option is there. So we can use that. That means we can specify that mean how in minutes, how many packets can be come, or it can start dropping. That means if you are going to receive, or if you are going to write rule that it should not accept more than 60 packet in a minute, then we can write that rule. So that facility, rate limiting facility is there. So there we can specify burst rate also. So that facility is because again, this IP table firewall is very strong. So I have not given the examples of that, but you can stop that DDoS by using that rate limiting facility. Is this okay, sir?
There is one more question from one of the participants.
Yes.
Could anyone help me with measuring network firewall weaknesses and vulnerabilities?
Sir, please repeat.
Could anyone help me? The participant is actually asking, could anyone help me with measuring network firewall weaknesses and vulnerabilities?
Basically, you need to have the tools like if you they know the Metasploit framework. That means generally for a hacking purpose, we use the Metasploit framework. That means I was praising this IP table firewall. If we have to look at this whether it is actually supporting or these type of thing, then what we can test by using this Metasploit tool is there. But that will require a lot of knowledge for implementing that. So that is the tool by which you can check this type of. Or then one bot tool is there. I just not remember one tool is there. Botnet tool is there that can be used for checking this performance, this type of thing, whether it is working properly or not.
There is one more question from the same participant.
Yes.
List of attributes to evaluate when measuring a network firewall weaknesses and vulnerabilities.
First of all is what is the performance? That means like when I am implementing IP table firewall. Now when we are implementing, when it is stopping the traffic, how much CPU it is using? Because in the end, if we are using IP tables firewall, we will be implementing it in PC. So what we need to do, we need to mirror whether it will be how much CPU is there. Plus it is a network, mean how much bandwidth it is able to cover. That means how much traffic it can accept. Sometimes what happens, the attacker is going to overwhelm this firewall itself by sending lot of packets. So we have to see how much traffic. That means it should have proper LAN card, not just 1 gigabyte LAN card. It should be having a very speedy LAN card should be there. So this CPU, second is this, you can say this, how much traffic it can handle, that type of thing. Plus third thing is whether it, one participant was there, whether it handles that dynamic port type of thing, whether it is a stateful type of firewall or not. That type of thing you can measure, whether it supports that type of thing or not. But performance measure that CPU and your bandwidth, that is the main thing.
Okay, there is one more question from Priyanshu Singh. He asked how VPN can access blocked IPs, why it cannot be filtered by firewall.
No, please remember when we are allowing the VPN. So basically what we are doing, VPN are also using some port. So if we are allowing, if you are going to disable that port, what will happen? We will not be able to say. Plus some of the VPN, what they do, I'm just giving an example. Suppose in AMU, water bottle is allowed. So what I will do, I will put some dangerous thing in water bottle. So what will happen? The security, I'm not going to do that, just example. When I'm going to put some dangerous thing in that bottle, the security guard will allow. That means it is normal traffic. That means we are sometimes not checking the data inside. So what we can do, if you have to do that type of access, that means you have to combine certain concepts, because sometimes what the VPN, these type of things do, they send the traffic through some open port. That means encapsulated traffic. That is why sometimes you are able to bypass firewall. But if you are going to check properly into that encapsulated data, then there is no issue regarding that. Mean then VPN cannot be used for bypassing that type of thing. That means you have to check the internal traffic that is coming.
Next question is from Mohammed Saab.
Yes.
Sir, how to close any open port we find during nmap scan?
Again, sir, like I was just giving the example, I'm just giving the Linux example. I was saying, if I have to close the web server. So in this case, I'm just going to say service HTTP stop. So what will happen? My web server will get stopped. That means 80% will block. And if I have to stop this SSD service, then what I am going to say? And for telnet, I have to use the service check config telnet off. That means when we are starting, we are using the service SSD start, and when we have to close, that means we are just going to close that service. If you are using Windows Server, that means if you are using the latest 2016 server, from add remove you can add, and from remove roles you can remove that server. So by using this service command in Linux, you can stop. And latest Linux system, the command is systemctl disable the name of that service. By using that, you can stop.
Yes. Next question from one of the participants, Zishan Ahmed. Can you please suggest any useful open source firewall software?
Yes, this is IP tables is the 30% time. They're using this. This IP tables is the best firewall, open source firewall that is available. And I have already said that it is not my statement. 30% of the industry and organization, they use this firewall. And you have seen just knowledge of 10 to 15 Linux command will be sufficient in handling. Of course, you need networking knowledge also, but handling this firewall is very easy. Is this clear? IP tables, the firewall default that's come in Linux, that is the open source firewall.
There is one more question.
Yes, sir.
Can firewall restrict the email according to its header or content so that it may not reach the valid receiver?
No, because here why you can stop, if you are sending the mail, you have to stop the 25 port. If you are using that receiving, you have to 110 port, and then if IMAP 145 port. So we cannot go into that. Means it does not look that much deep into the traffic. So for that, some custom type of thing, just when you have asked, these are these IP tables. Now, next generation firewalls are also coming. We call these firewall SDN based firewall, software defined networking file. In software defined networking file, what you can do, you can put these type of things also. That means there in that you can put that type of it is going to check header, these type of thing. That is software defined networking based firewall, but that is again totally different topic. That means next generation firewall, they will be able to do that also.
There is one more question. What should we learn more from here about firewalls if we want to enter into web application pen testing career?
Yes. Again, a lot of on net, a lot of resources are available where you can assess. Even in my case, whether I should share that my YouTube link or not, I do not know. I have put 50 to 60 videos there on firewall, so the participant go there and they can learn the firewall there. There also. But I will not share that. I've got one channel where I've put these. Plus, other resources are also available where a lot of material regarding firewall is available. And please remember one thing. Please remember another security concept is very important: intrusion detection system. And one of the most popular intrusion detection system now coming up, it is Suricata. And Suricata best combines with this IP tables firewall. So when you are combining this IDS with this IP table firewall, you are going to get one perfect product which is a block, that is Suricata product is there. One IDS is there, intrusion detection system. So that also could be of help to you people.
Yes, one more question, probably
Yes,
the last one. How can I use TCP replay to test firewall rules, specifically IP tables?
Please repeat, sir.
How can I use TCP replay to test firewall rules, specifically IP tables?
Again, in TCP replay, generally basically we are playing the data set. Then what you are going to do, we have to see in which that data, in that you can say what type of data you are having. If you are having real type of traffic, then here we have to write that type of rules, because in my case, what I was doing, I was using the local IP addresses. That means 172 type of thing. But if you are using a real type data set, when you are going to replay using TCP replay, there the traffic might be from 201, that type. That means if you know what type of addresses that are, then you have to write those type of rule. That means instead of source 172, you have to write that type of rule. That means source address is 201. That means you have to change those addresses. Then you can use TCP replay to check that. Because here, what we are looking, we are just looking at, we have just given the local addresses. That means you have to just change the command. You have to give those real addresses. Then you will be able to test that type of.
And the last question, very important question and million-dollar question. How can we connect Vipin Gupta, sir?
I have already shared my email number and my contact number. Anytime, more preferably, please call me after evening, because most of the time I'm taking the classes up to 5 o'clock. So the best time to connect with me is the evening time. Or you can just send me WhatsApp message, or when you are going to call, even if I am not able to pick, most of the time I will try to connect in the evening to you people. So anytime you can connect me, no restrictions, no that type of thing. I'm sharing my email. So that phone number is on WhatsApp also. So you can connect to me. And please, because a lot of young participants are there. So just for knowledge purpose, I just doesn't, almost 500 videos are there on this channel on almost all the advanced concept. These 500 videos are there, so you can access those also. And please, you can access to me any time. You can call me in the evening.
Thank you, Vipin.
Okay, sir. Any chat box, sir? I should still. I've got 5 minutes. If any, or you have read the question from the chat box, sir?
Yes, I've already read all
okay,
the questions.
Sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
So I must say thanks to Mr. Vipin Gupta for taking such a nice practical-oriented session, and I am sure the participants must have benefited from this lecture. Now I request Professor Tamanna, coordinator of this event, to confer certificate of appreciation to our esteemed resource person. Tamanna ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Faisal. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay. A wholeheartedly thanks to Mr. Vipin Gupta, the Director of Unit Labs Private Limited, Moga, Punjab. Mr. Vipin, you have given an excellent coverage of combating cyber threats through Firewall, a practical demo. I hope your lecture will give a very clear understanding of this topic to our participants. Mr. Vipin, it's an honor for me to present a certificate of appreciation to you. The certificate is a token of respect from the entire family of Department of Computer Science, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The participants are requested to join Day-4 session tomorrow, again at 4 p.m. The resource person would be Dr. Karan Singh, assistant professor from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. He will be delivering the lecture on the topic cybersecurity and cryptographic algorithms. So thank you everyone for joining this session. Let's meet again tomorrow at 4 p.m. So today's session is officially over now. Thank you so much, Vipin Gupta, for your.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Faisal. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. So the